Moadim L'Simcha. In just a few hours, we'll begin the second set of Yom Tov days for the holiday of Pesach. We began with 2 festival days and we end with 2 festival days. We know that those first 2 festival days, the nights of the first and second Seder, represent what it was like for the Israelites as they were getting ready to leave Egypt. That first night, the Israelites cooped up in their own homes, afraid to go out, getting ready to have a meal, each family, a few families together, because they were afraid to go outside because of the plague, the death of the firstborn that was happening out there. The next morning, they get the message that they're leaving Egypt, and so they hurry away before Pharaoh can change his mind. Of course, Pharaoh does change his mind, we know, and that's where we get to these second festival days, is that those nights of the Seder are only the beginning of our journey to freedom. Where does that journey conclude? It concludes with the crossing of the Red Sea, which happens 7 days after that first night of Passover, which of course brings us to today and to tonight. These last 2 festival days celebrate just that, the completion of the journey which began that first night, celebrating the crossing of the sea. That moment when the sea closes behind the Israelites is that first true moment when they're free. There's no opportunity, there's no more chance, there's no more thought that they would ever return to slavery or to the land of Egypt. And so tonight, just like we did on those first 2 nights of Passover, we light candles with the bracha of Lahadlik Ner Shel Yom Tov. We don't say the Shechianu like we did on those first 2 nights because we've already lit candles for Yom Tov, for Passover. We say Kiddush and Hamotzi at our meals. We add to the idea that these days are holy, that they're festival, that they're moments of joy, and they give us one last moment before this holiday ends to reflect on this idea of freedom and what freedom means. It's a thought and it's a question that is ever more prevalent in our minds as we feel confined, but we still look for those expressions of freedom. Whether it's sitting in your backyard having a cup of coffee, whether it's watching a movie with the family or with a friend to escape this idea of being inside, of being quarantined. And so I put it to you, I put it to each one of us to answer that question over these next 2 days. What freedoms have we experienced in our lives this past week, this past month, that are special, that are a blessing, that we might not have otherwise realized or otherwise appreciated as a freedom before all of this began. And so I leave you with the blessing of Chag Sameach, a wonderful, joyous holiday experienced with the idea of freedom in mind, with the idea of being close with those who we want to be close with, of celebrating this Chag HaMatzot, this holiday of Matzot, Chag HaCherut, holiday of freedom, and Chag HaPesach, and of course Chag HaAviv, the holiday of spring, the festival of spring. To take all of those together and to take these next 2 days and truly appreciate and truly to find new meaning in them, I think is one of the greatest blessings that this holiday, that these last 2 festival days can bring us. And of course, at the end of it all, we'll join together at 8:30 p.m. on Thursday night for one more Havdalah, one more separation of the festival from the regular days. And after that, at 8:30 p.m. Is when your chametz returns to you, when you can finally partake of and enjoy the chametz one more time. Looking forward to seeing you all of you then. Chag Sameach.